So VMware is a hypervisor and a management plane. So people log in and they create things within it. So there's a hypervisor that then they can create VMs and do all this work. Most people who are with service providers have incredibly limited feature sets of what they can do in a subset called vDirector. People who are on premise, who have all their own servers on premise and buy VMware's licensing, often have what's called vCenter or vSphere, which is far more complex and more powerful to use every day. And there's reasons a lot of the service providers don't hand that out, and that we can do that technical talk another time. But we, as an organization, built our platform. The hypervisor is a type 1 hypervisor. So it follows all the proper rules. It uses open standard Linux-based protocols, which are similar to how AWS and GCP and everybody else builds these types of things. So we followed that model instead of reselling somebody else's that they built. So one of the reasons I'm able to be so cost competitive with an on-private cloud is pretty in depth. It gives people pretty much every feature they could ever imagine. So it feels like they still have their vCenter licensing on premise, but they're now with a service provider and real support management. So I actually give them something that they've been missing for a long time with a lot of the providers. And the people who come from on-prem are actually like, oh, this works and I'll buy it because I'm still getting my experience. I'm not giving these things up by going to a service provider who's reselling me licensing and management. So that's where we really fit. And because I'm not using a bunch of software that I'm buying and then reselling and marking up margin to make that work, it really gives me a lot of cost control. Right. So mine is I'm buying hardware and then I'm laying on what we developed. And so I don't have, for example, if you look at some of the clouds out there, I don't have the VMware tax and the Zerto tax and the Beam tax and the Commvault tax and the alert logic tax. And I'm not using all of these other third-party softwares, trying to put them all together and hoping I don't have conflicts and then outwardly selling that as a solution.